I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. The air left my lungs. I could not breathe. I stared at those words until they blurred. He will not even notice we are gone. Married to his job anyway. 25 years. 25 years of 60-hour work weeks, of missing my own father's funeral because I had an important presentation, of skipping vacations because we needed to save money for their college funds. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. The air left my lungs. I could not breathe. I stared at those words until they blurred. He will not even notice we are gone. Married to his job anyway. 25 years. 25 years of 60-hour work weeks. Of missing my own father's funeral because I had an important presentation. Of skipping vacations because we needed to save money for their college funds. I was working at a small architecture firm in Portland, Oregon, fresh out of grad school, and hungry to prove myself. The pay was not great, but I loved what I did. Every building I designed felt like a piece of my soul on paper. I met Diane at a local coffee shop on a rainy Thursday morning. I was sitting in the corner booth, hunched over blueprints for a residential project when she walked in shaking water from her umbrella. She ordered a latte, turned too quickly, and boom. Coffee everywhere. All over my drawings. I looked up ready to be annoyed, but then I saw her face. She was mortified, apologizing over and over, her cheeks flushed red. But what caught me was the way her eyes lit up when she actually looked at the blueprints. She asked questions, real questions, about the design, the flow, the concept. Most people just saw lines on paper. She saw a home. We started talking. One conversation led to another. 2 weeks later, we went on our first date. 2 years after that, I proposed on a hiking trail overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. She said yes before I even finished the question. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Nothing fancy. Just us promising forever. Our life together was simple but warm. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment on the east side of town. The place was small, but it was ours. We cooked dinner together most nights, pasta or stir-fry, nothing complicated. On weekends, we would go hiking or drive out to the coast. I remember one trip to Crater Lake. We camped under the stars, lying in our sleeping bags, talking about the future. Diane turned to me and said, "I do not need a mansion, Lou. I just need you." I believed her. I felt safe. I felt like we could face anything together. I worked hard, putting in long hours at the firm. My dream was to one day start my own architecture company. Diane worked at an upscale jewelry store downtown. She was good with people. Charming, knew how to make customers feel special. She would come home and tell me stories about the extravagant pieces she sold the wealthy clients who bought $10,000 necklaces without blinking. I would laugh and say, "One day I will buy you something like that." She would kiss me and say, "You already give me everything I need." But then things started to change. It began small, subtle. Diane started coming home later than usual. At first it was once or twice a week, then it became almost every night. She said the store was busy, that her manager was demanding that she had to stay for inventory or client appointments. I believed her. Why would I not? We had built our relationship on trust. Then I noticed her phone. She was always on it. Texting, scrolling, smiling at the screen in a way that made something twist in my gut. When I asked who she was talking to, she would say, "Just a coworker," or "my sister," and change the subject. I tried to push the doubt away. I told myself I was being paranoid, that work stress was making me imagine things. But the distance grew. Our conversations became shallow. She stopped asking about my projects. She stopped sharing her day. When I suggested we have dinner together, really sit down and reconnect, she would say she was tired or had plans with friends. At first it was once or twice a week, then it became almost every night. She said the store was busy, that her manager was demanding that she had to stay for inventory or client appointments. I believed her. Why would I not? We had built our relationship on trust. Then I noticed her phone. She was always on it. Texting, scrolling, smiling at the screen in a way that made something twist in my gut. I sat there alone, staring at the candles burning down, feeling a cold emptiness settle in my chest. Around the same time, I noticed Diane was changing in other ways. She started wearing more makeup. She bought new clothes, expensive ones, dresses and heels I had never seen before. She went to the salon more often, came home with perfectly styled hair and manicured nails. When I complimented her, she would just shrug and say she wanted to look professional for work. But something felt off. She was dressing up for someone. I just did not want to admit who. 2 months into this new normal, I came home early one evening and heard her voice in the bathroom. She was on the phone, speaking quietly, laughing softly in a way she had not laughed with me in months. I stood outside the door, my heart pounding. When she came out, I asked who she was talking to. She said it was her sister Rachel. I nodded, but doubt was eating me alive. Denise Derrick, Amanda Frank, Margaret Bradley, and his wife Paige. They were at a beach resort, palm trees swaying in the background, crystal blue water behind them. They were all holding colorful cocktails, wearing swimsuits and sunglasses, smiling like they did not have a care in the world. The location tag read, Four Seasons Resort Maui. I stared at the photo. My brain could not process what I was seeing. They were in Hawaii, on my birthday, without me. I scrolled down to the comments. The kind where a single meal costs more than our weekly grocery budget. When I asked Diane about it, she got defensive. She snapped at me, said I did not trust her, said I was being controlling. Then for the first time in our marriage, she said something that cut deeper than any betrayal. Maybe if you made more money, Lou, I would not have to feel like I am settling. The words hung in the air like poison. I tried to apologize. I said I would work harder, take on more projects, do whatever it took to make her happy. She just walked away. That night I could not sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying her words over and over. Settling. Was that how she saw our life? Our marriage? Everything I had worked for felt meaningless. I decided I needed to do better. I needed to be better. So I started taking extra shifts, working weekends, pushing myself to exhaustion. I thought if I could just earn more, prove my worth, things would go back to normal. But deep down I knew. I knew the problem was not money. It was something far worse. Then came the day everything shattered. It was a Friday afternoon in late September. I had been working on a commercial project that got unexpectedly canceled. My boss told me to take the rest of the day off. I decided to surprise Diane. I stopped at the florist, bought a bouquet of sunflowers, her favorite. I imagined her smile when I walked through the door. I imagined us finally talking, reconnecting, finding our way back to each other. When I unlocked the apartment door, the first thing I saw was a suitcase by the entrance. Large, packed. My stomach dropped. I called her name. No answer. I walked through the apartment. The closet in our bedroom was half empty. Her dresser drawers were open, clothes missing, shoes gone, toiletries cleared from the bathroom. My chest felt tight. I could not breathe. On the kitchen table there was a white envelope with my name written in her handwriting. I sat down, hands trembling, and opened it. Inside were divorce papers, already signed by her, and a letter. I unfolded it, my vision blurring. The words were short, cold, detached. Lou, I am sorry, but I cannot do this anymore. I met someone who can give me the life I deserve. Do not try to find me. The divorce papers are ready. Just sign them. Diane. I read it once, twice, 10 times. It did not feel real. The woman I married, the woman who said she only needed me, had left. Just like that. No conversation. No chance to fix things. Just a note and an empty closet. I sat there on the floor holding the letter, feeling like my entire world had collapsed. I tried calling her. The number was disconnected. I sent texts. No response. Emails. Nothing. I called her family. Her mother said she had not heard from Diane. Her sister said the same. But I could hear it in their voices. They knew. They just were not going to tell me. I did not sleep that night. I sat on the couch staring at the wall, trying to process what had happened, trying to understand how everything had fallen apart so fast. The apartment felt hollow, Every corner held a memory, her coffee mug on the counter, her jacket still hanging by the door. The picture of us on our wedding day smiling like nothing could ever go wrong. I wanted to scream, I wanted to cry. But mostly I felt numb, empty. A few days later, a coworker of Diane reached out. Her name was Sandra. She said she felt I deserved to know the truth. Diane had been seeing someone. A client from the jewelry store. His name was Gregory Parker. He was in his early 50s, a successful tech CEO with money to burn. He lived in a downtown penthouse, drove luxury cars, wore watches that cost more than my annual salary. Diane had started seeing him 6 months earlier. She would meet him after work, go to expensive dinners, stay at his place. Sandra said everyone at the store knew. They just did not know how to tell me. Gregory promised Diane a life of luxury, trips to Europe, designer clothes, a world I could never provide. And Diane had chosen it. She had chosen him. I felt sick, betrayed, humiliated, but more than anything, I felt worthless, like I had failed, like I was not enough. I stopped going to work. My boss called concerned. I made excuses. I stopped answering calls from friends. I stopped eating properly. I lost weight. I barely slept. Every night I would lie in that bed we used to share, staring at the empty space beside me, wondering what I could have done differently, wondering why I was not enough. I made the mistake of looking at social media. Diane had blocked me, but I could see her through mutual friends' posts. There she was, glowing, wearing designer dresses, dripping in jewelry, smiling next to Gregory on a yacht. They looked happy. Perfect. Like a couple from a magazine. Seeing those pictures felt like a knife twisting in my chest. She had moved on so easily, like our 7 years together meant nothing. I deleted all our photos. Every single one. But the memories stayed. They haunted me. One night, about a month after she left, I hit rock bottom. I sat alone in the apartment with a bottle of whiskey, the divorce papers spread out in front of me. I was done making things easy for her. That night, something shifted in me. I realized I could not keep living like this. I could not let her betrayal define me. I had to take control. I had to rebuild. So I made a decision. I was going to focus on myself. I was going to become the man I was meant to be. Not for her. For me. I started going to the gym. At first it was just to burn off the anger, to exhaust myself so I could sleep. But then it became something more. It became therapy. I was done making things easy for her. That night something shifted in me. I realized I could not keep living like this. I could not let her betrayal define me. I had to take control. I had to rebuild. So I made a decision. I was going to focus on myself. I was going to become the man I was meant to be. Not for her. For me. I started going to the gym. At first it was just to burn off the anger, to exhaust myself so I could sleep. But then it became something more. It became therapy. A way to regain control over my life. I started eating better. I started dressing better. I accepted an invitation from my friend Marcus to meet his circle. New people. New energy. People who did not know my story, who did not look at me with pity. 6 months after Diane left, I finally signed the divorce papers. Her lawyer had been hounding me, threatening legal action. I signed them, but not out of weakness. I signed them because I was ready. Ready to close that chapter. Ready to move forward. I handed them over with a strange sense of peace. This was not the end. It was the beginning. I threw myself into work. I took on every project I could. I learned new software, attended workshops, networked with other architects. My boss noticed. He started giving me bigger assignments, more responsibility. I designed an office building for a startup downtown. It was my first major solo project. The client loved it. They recommended me to others. Word spread. My portfolio grew. My income grew. For the first time in my life, I was not just surviving, I was thriving. A year after the divorce, I got promoted. I became the lead designer at the firm. The pay increase was significant. I moved out of the old apartment. Too many ghosts there. I found a modern loft closer to downtown. Clean, minimalist, no memories. I furnished it carefully. Every piece was intentional. This was my space, my fresh start. I started socializing more. Marcus introduced me to his friends, successful people, entrepreneurs, creatives, people who inspired me. We would go hiking, play golf, volunteer at community events. I felt alive again. I felt like myself, maybe even a better version of myself. Around that time, I met someone. Her name was Kate. We crossed paths at a charity gala that my firm was sponsoring. She was a pediatrician, kind-hearted, intelligent, with a laugh that made you feel at ease. We talked for hours that night. She did not know about my past, and I did not volunteer it. We just connected. We started seeing each other casually. Coffee dates, walks in the park. Nothing rushed, nothing forced. Kate was patient. She did not push. She let me open up at my own pace. Slowly, I started to feel something I thought I had lost forever. Trust, hope, the possibility of love again. 2 years after Diane left, I took a leap. I left the firm and started my own architecture company with 2 partners I had met through the industry. It was risky, terrifying, but exhilarating. We rented a small office space, built a website, started pitching to clients. The first few months were rough. We barely broke even. But then we landed a contract for a residential development project. Then another, and another. The business started to grow. We hired our first employee, then a second. My dream was becoming reality. I bought a small house in the suburbs, nothing extravagant, just a cozy 2-bedroom with a backyard. I planted a garden, got a dog, built a life that felt solid, real, mine. 3 years after Diane walked out, I was a different person. Stronger, more confident, at peace with my past. I had learned that my worth was not tied to someone else's opinion of me. I had learned that happiness comes from within, not from external validation. I was proud of who I had become, and I was grateful. Grateful for the pain that forced me to grow. Then one night my phone rang. It was late, almost 11. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. The voice on the other end was shaking, crying. It was Diane. I had not heard her voice in 3 years. For a moment I just stood there frozen. She was sobbing, barely able to get words out. "Lou, please, I need to talk to you. Please do not hang up." I did not say anything. I just listened. She told me Gregory had died. A massive stroke. He was 52. It happened suddenly, no warning. And when he died, everything fell apart. Turned out Gregory had been living beyond his means. He had debts, bad investments. His family swooped in, took everything, and kicked Diane out. She had nothing, no money, no home, no one to turn to. She was calling me because she was desperate. "Lou, I made a terrible mistake," she cried. "I was stupid and greedy. I thought I wanted that life, but it was empty. I missed you. I missed us. Please, can I come home? I have nowhere to go." I stood by the window looking out at the city lights. I felt calm, detached, not angry, not sad, just indifferent. I let her finish, let her pour out her apologies, her regrets, her pleas. Then I spoke. My voice was steady, firm. "Diane, I am not the same man you left 3 years ago." I told her the truth. I told her about the hell I went through after she left, the sleepless nights, the self-doubt, the pain. But I also told her about the growth, the rebuilding, the life I had created without her. "You chose a life of luxury over our life together. That was your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences." She begged. She cried harder. She said she still loved me, that she had always loved me, that she just lost her way. I cut her off. "Diane, I forgive you. I really do. But forgiveness does not mean I take you back. You taught me something valuable. You taught me that I deserve someone who chooses me every day, not just when they have nowhere else to go." I wish you well. I hope you find your way. But we are done. We have been done for a long time. I heard her sob, but I did not waver. There are shelters, organizations that can help you. I will text you some contacts. But you and I, we are not going back. Goodbye, Diane. I hung up. I blocked the number, and I felt free, completely, utterly free. I stood there for a moment, letting it sink in. Then I texted Kate. Hey, are you free this weekend? I want to take you somewhere special. She replied immediately. Always. Where are we going? I smiled. It is a surprise. Just trust me. And she did. Because that is what real love looks like. Trust, respect, choosing each other every single day. The months that followed were some of the best of my life. My company continued to grow. We took on bigger projects, expanded our team, opened a second office. I was not just surviving anymore. I was succeeding, thriving, living. My relationship with Kate deepened. We moved in together. She brought light into my life in a way I had not experienced before. She was steady, loyal, present, everything Diane was not. I heard through the grapevine that Diane had moved back in with her family. She got a job at a retail store, nothing glamorous, just making ends meet. I did not follow up. I did not check her social media. I did not care. That chapter was closed, sealed, buried. I wished her no harm, but I also wished her no place in my life. She was a memory, a lesson, a reminder of what I did not want. One Saturday morning, I woke up early. The sun was just starting to rise. I made a pot of coffee and sat on the porch of my house, my dog at my feet, a mug warm in my hands. I looked out at the quiet street, the trees swaying gently in the breeze, and I felt something I had not felt in years. Gratitude. Deep, overwhelming gratitude. I used to think that losing Diane was the worst thing that could happen to me, but now I see it was the best thing. It forced me to confront my weaknesses. It pushed me to grow. It taught me that my value does not come from someone else. It comes from me, from the choices I make, the life I build, the person I choose to be. I learned that betrayal, as painful as it is, does not define you. How you respond to it does. I could have stayed bitter. I could have let anger consume me. I could have spent the rest of my life blaming Diane for my unhappiness, but I chose differently. I chose to rebuild, to become stronger, to love myself enough to walk away from anyone who did not see my worth. And that choice changed everything. Real happiness is not about revenge. It is not about proving anything to anyone. But mostly I felt numb, empty. A few days later, a coworker of Diane reached out. Her name was Sandra. She said she felt I deserved to know the truth. Diane had been seeing someone, a client from the jewelry store. His name was Gregory Parker. He was in his early 50s, a successful tech CEO with money to burn. He lived in a downtown penthouse, drove luxury cars, wore watches that cost more than my annual salary. Diane had started seeing him 6 months earlier. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? How did you handle it? Did you fight to get them back, or did you walk away and rebuild? Drop your answer in the comments below. I would love to hear your story. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because I share real stories about real life, and I think we can all learn from each other. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who is struggling. Someone who needs a reminder that they are enough just as they are. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gave you something to think about. Remember, you are not defined by who leaves you. You are defined by how you rise after they are gone. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. Sometimes the people who leave our lives do us the biggest favor. They make space for the ones who truly belong, and they teach us that we were never broken. We were just with the wrong person. I opened the door and stepped out into the light, ready for whatever came next.